What is the polar Silk Road and what could be the implications of the Arctic ice melting rapidly for Russia and for the whole world? Excellent question. Let's take a look at our map. Let me put the map on. So this is the globe. Let's zoom in. This here is China. China considers itself to be a near Arctic nation. So the Arctic is up north, the Arctic Circle, which is the northern parts of Russia, of Siberia, etc. So the Chinese consider themselves to be a near Arctic nation. And as the global warming comes into effect, and as they see all this region that we see here near the Arctic Circle, it's more or less in recent memory been permanently shrouded in ice. It's always icebound. So all of this blue that you see here, the oceans, they're basically unpassable unless you have an icebreaker, which is a special kind of ship, or unless you have a submarine, that to a nuclear submarine that can be submerged for a couple of months or several months at a time. So these passages here have never really been passable. But now, with this global warming coming into effect, the ice is melting in the Arctic region, and this could become an important waterway for trade and other purposes. So the Chinese are already planning ahead. They want to create infrastructure that allows them to conduct trade with Europe via the Arctic Sea route, which is from here, okay, if you can see my pointer, from here all the way up there and going there, instead of going through the Malacca Strait and all these choke points, which India, if it ever wakes up someday in the future, could possibly choke off. So the Chinese are looking at exploiting this route for trade and other purposes. They already have ships that can do this. They have a very large merchant naval fleet, which serves a dual purpose. It is basically a civilian fleet, which is used for transportation and maritime merchant activities. So they would like to exploit this. And so that is the implication. China could basically encircle Russia using this methodology. Right now, the Russians are basically cooperating with the Chinese, but it is definitely something the Russians would be very much wary about being encircled by the Chinese, because at the to Russia's south, you have a very strong Chinese presence, as you can see on the map, right? This here is Russia, this here is China. Mongolia really doesn't matter. It's not a powerful country in any sense, militarily or economically. The Chinese can always overrun Mongolia. And so the Russians feel threatened by the Chinese. And if the Chinese were to establish a permanent Silk Road, so to say, in the Arctic, it could become a bigger threat for the Russians, right? So this is all the game of geopolitics. Russia and China are quasi-allies right now, but the game is more complex than it appears at first glance. So these are some of the implications of the Arctic ice melting and the Chinese trying to create a new trade route, the polar Silk Road. It could affect the EU, it could affect the US, it could affect the entire balance of global power. So that is what China is contemplating right now. That's what they are vigorously planning for, and they are already taking steps to put various kinds of infrastructure into position to do this. And Russia, as of now, is cooperating, but let's see how it goes. I don't see them being very happy about this in the long run.